America's most confusing missing persons file. In the modern world, disappearance is supposed to be impossible. That is what we tell ourselves. We believe technology has erased mystery. We believe cameras see everything. We believe phones record every step, every movement, every choice. We believe that if someone vanished, there would be proof. A message, a signal, a trace. But one case quietly destroyed that belief. Not with drama, not with chaos, not with violence, but with something far more unsettling. Nothing. The person at the center of this story did not live a life that pointed toward disappearance. There were no warning signs, no dramatic changes, no reason to run. They were part of routines, habits, expectations. They had people waiting for them. They had responsibilities. They had plans. They were anchored to the world. And that is what makes what happened next so difficult to understand. The day they vanished began like any other. The same morning rituals, the same familiar movements, the same rhythm that had repeated itself countless times before. Nothing felt urgent. Nothing felt off. Later, people would replay those final interactions in their minds again and again, searching for meaning in ordinary moments. But at the time, they were forgettable. And that forgettability became tragic. The last confirmed sighting was brief, so ordinary that no one remembered it clearly until they were asked to remember it forever. A passing moment, a neutral expression, a person moving forward with their day. After that moment, the world lost track of them. Not gradually, instantly. When they didn't return home, concern appeared softly. At first, it was rationalized. Maybe they were delayed, maybe plans changed, maybe their phone battery died. We all make excuses for silence before we fear it. But as hours stretched longer, the silence changed its shape. It stopped feeling temporary. It began to feel wrong. Phone calls went unanswered. Messages remained unread. Time passed without explanation. Eventually, concern turned into something heavier, something that pressed down on everyone involved. That is when authorities were contacted. The initial investigation followed familiar patterns. Friends were questioned, workplaces were checked, hospitals were contacted. There was no sign of emergency treatment, no sudden travel, no unexpected activity. It was as if the missing person had simply stepped out of the system. Their belongings deepened the confusion. Important personal items were left behind, items tied to identity, mobility, and daily life. Things no one abandons unless they intend to return. Future plans remained untouched. Commitments remained scheduled. There was no sign of preparation for disappearance. Search efforts began quickly. Local areas were covered first. Streets they walked regularly. Routes they traveled often. Nothing. No one had seen anything unusual. No one reported distress. No one reported urgency. The world had not noticed their absence yet. Dogs were brought in to track scent. For a moment there was progress. The trail was strong. It moved confidently through familiar terrain. It followed a path that matched routine behavior. Then it stopped. Not faded, stopped. The end of the scent trail was abrupt, clean, unnatural. Handlers later said it felt like the trail didn't end so much as it was cut, as if the person had vanished mid-step. There were no signs of struggle, no signs of resistance, no signs of panic. Just absence. The search expanded outward. Forests were scanned, open land examined, quiet roads traced. Nothing. Not even nature responded to disruption. Days passed. Search teams grew larger. Volunteers joined. Hope was still present, but it began to shift. Hope in the beginning is loud. Later it becomes quiet, fragile. As time passed, something unsettling became clear. Every theory failed. If the person left voluntarily, they left everything that mattered. If someone else was involved, they left no evidence. If it was an accident, the environment gave no confirmation. Each explanation required assumptions that didn't fit reality.
Then the sightings began. People believed they saw the missing person. Not vague resemblances, specific details, posture, movement, voice. Sometimes close, sometimes far away. Sometimes behaving normally, sometimes appearing confused. Every sighting was investigated. Every one collapsed. Wrong timing, wrong location, wrong individual. But the reports continued, and the consistency disturbed investigators. Too consistent to ignore, too inconsistent to confirm. The family lived in a state without language. They could not say goodbye. They could not say hello. They lived in the space between. Every sound felt like a possible answer. Every quiet moment felt like loss. Years passed. Public attention faded, but the case did not end. It lingered, waiting.
Technology improved. Old data was reopened. Phone records examined again. Financial activity analyzed again. Everything ended on the same day. No return, no attempt to reconnect, no digital footprint. In a world built on data, this absence became impossible to ignore. Then came the discovery. A personal item, confirmed to belong to the missing person, found far from where it should have been, in an area already searched thoroughly. The object was intact, not weathered, not damaged. It looked intentionally placed. That single fact changed everything, because it meant time did not stop the day the person vanished. Something continued afterward. Investigators returned to the beginning. Witnesses were re-interviewed. Timelines reconstructed. Small inconsistencies appeared everywhere. Not lies, human memory bending under time. But no inconsistency explained the whole. Psychologists later noted something rare. This disappearance lacked emotional noise. No panic, no escalation, no visible distress. Emotionally silent disappearances are extremely uncommon. That silence became its own mystery. Years turned into decades. The case outlived careers. Detectives retired. Families aged. Children grew up knowing someone only through photographs. Legally, the missing person remained unresolved, not declared dead, not confirmed alive. They existed only in records and memory. The case is reviewed from time to time. Cold case units examine it. New eyes search old evidence. Nothing moves. And that is why this file remains one of America's most confusing. Not because it is dramatic, but because it is empty. Because it shows that even now, a person can disappear completely, without warning, without explanation, without an ending.